Shannon, let me start with you.
Yes.
How should the Hall of Fame process be changed?
I would like to see it maybe like the Heisman. Once you win the Heisman, you get an opportunity to vote. I would like to see the living members that's in the Hall of Fame have a vote. Not necessarily saying it has to have more cachet or more weight than the voters, but I would like to see us have a vote because we have an understanding of.
Would you then sit through the sessions on Saturday as you heard the presenters? Would you go through that process?
If that what was needed in order for us to come to the conclusion, I have no problem with that.
Well, right now, as it stands, we have two sitting Hall of Famers, Dan Fouts and James Lofton. They sit in the session. Now, actually, there is an email and there is a poll and there is a ballot. And we do get the vote as far as who do we think should be in the Hall. They calculate the votes, and those two represent the other 303 before this weekend, 310 Hall of Famers, as what our suggestions would be compared to individually.
Yes. The thing for me, I've been the past 2 days I was down the Saturday and Sunday. Spent a lot of time with Hall of Famers because the historically black university players that went to historically black university that's in the Pro Football Hall of Fame was honored before the game. Thank you, NFL, for that. That was great.
Who were those? Like Jerry Rice?
Jerry Rice, Mel Blount, myself,
Richard
Dent, Michael Strahan, Claude Humphreys, Larry Little. I mean, a lot of the older guys because there was no Ohio State going to. But in talking to them, and a lot of those guys, me and Aeneas were the youngest guys there. We're the only guys that were on the bus that in our 40s. Most of the guys 50 plus, 60, 70. And to a man, T.O. deserves to be a Hall of Fame. They said this is getting every old, and I'm not talking about sources. I'm there, sitting talking to them on the bus ride, even in the suite after watching the game. They said, man, I hate it's like this, but it's gotten personal now. He says, you can't tell me this guy, what he did on the field is not Hall of Fame worthy. If you want to say character, you need to put that in the bylaws. Because they caught a lot of criticism when they put Darren Sharper on the ballot. Because it's like, well, how does he get on the ballot? It's like what he did on the field. He was an all-pro. He was a Pro Bowl player. He was on the Super Bowl winning team. So
that's when things changed. So because he was on the ballot.
Put that in the bylaws. See what they're doing with T.O.'s guys. They're moving the finish line. T.O.'s finished.
Change the rules.
He's trying to cross the finish line, but they keep moving it further. He's never going to win that race. And what I told
yeah, you will. He'll win it at some point.
No, Skip, this is the meaning.
I mean, you think he'll ever get in?
Let me ask you a question. Name a sport where the guy that has the second most receiving yards, the third most touchdowns, and at the time of his retirement, he was a top 5 in catches. Name that guy that had the second most home runs, the second most points, the second most soccer goals, the second most anything, and he's not in their Hall of Fame.
Me. I waited 6 years.
I agree. I was going to say that for you.
I was second in touchdowns and I was second in reception. Two of the 3 major categories.
Okay, and you had to wait 3 times?
Years, yes.
Why?
And I
waited 6 years.
I know.
Because you know what? When they want you to get in, they'll make a compelling argument for you.
Why should you be punished for 6 and 3 years? What? You're either in it or you're not in it.
I'm gonna go to let you have it after this. When they want you to get in, Skip, they'll make a compelling argument for you. When they want to keep you out, they'll make a compelling argument against you.
First of all, there's 310 members into the Hall.
How many living?
177.
Okay, awesome.
Living. I feel bad for T.O. to a certain degree. Just wait 1 second. Because we've had other great players. Harry Carson. No character. I'm talking about a great man. He got very, very frustrated with the process. Lynn Swann, I think it took Lynn Swann 14 years
I believe it did.
to get into the Hall of Fame. In the whole history of the Hall, in the modern era, there's 25 receivers in the Hall of Fame. And I'm just so fortunate that I'm one of them. It's something that, as I got to the end of my career, was something that I thought was very, very important. I wanted it. I never won no Super Bowls, but I wanted to be in the Hall. Now, there's only 5 wide receivers that were first ballot Hall of Famers. All right? They are Raymond Berry, Lance Allworth, Paul Warfield, Steve Largent, and the GOAT, Jerry Rice.
Okay.
So there's only been 5 of them first ballot Hall of Famers. So there's always been a skewed line or a move in the line for wide receivers. Now, what happened 2 years ago changed the climate. When Darren Sharper ended up being on the list, it sent shockwaves through the Hall of Fame and the president, Dave Baker, and said, we have to do something about this. So now, not like baseball, baseball said they have adopted where character can be a part of the evaluation. We haven't gone that far as the voters, but what they have said is that the locker room is an extension of the field. That's what they've said, and they changed that the last 2 years. So have they moved the finish line? Yes, but character, it does matter. And to me, I can support that. As long as they stand up, they should make it official, put it in the bylaws, because not only does it allow the Hall of Famers, because when you get in the Hall, we have a great standard for the Hall.
Absolutely.
Don't they chastise us every year and tell us what they expect from a young Hall of Famer as far as all the traditions that they have?
Absolutely.
Every year, right?
Yes.
Now, so I understand what being in the Hall of Fame is. Now, there's a great article, Philadelphia.com. It talks about one of the writers, Paul Domowitch. He writes about how they've changed the standard. And now that your conduct and your character can be judged as far as your on-the-field accomplishments. The locker room and the field now are attached, and they have moved the line. And is it a flawed process? Yes, T.O., but you're a flawed candidate, too. Because character, it does. What job do you have where character does not matter? Now, put it in the bylaws and make it official.
That's all.
Okay?
That's all I'm saying.
Put it in the bylaws and make it official. But as far as wide receivers and getting to the Hall of Fame, it's been skewed for a long, long time. Yeah, you asked the question, who could be number 2 in 2 major categories? Me. And I waited 6 years, and I'm so glad because when they do call your name, you forget about all that stuff.
You do.
So T.O. will get to that point. And I know T.O.'s not a fan of mine, all right? I know that. So I don't say that just haphazardly. When you get in, you forget about it, and it is worth it.